All right, I'm back. Just got back from Texas Relays. As a whole, our team had a pretty good weekend. Janique Brown opened up in the hurdles with a pretty fast time, under 13 seconds. Kiera Parker ran a good season opener, her fastest season opener. And then everybody else, we kind of just did some relays. It was a fun meet. It's usually pretty warm, but it was actually kind of chilly, so we kind of had to adjust, but luckily we're used to that from being in Arkansas. So today I'm going to give the recipe for the chicken spaghetti squash. So we're gonna start with cutting your spaghetti squash in half. Today I went to Sam's Club. It's one of my favorite places to get meat in bulk because it's cheaper. So what I do is I get a big container of chicken. It has usually 10 chicken breasts, but I can cut those in half, so that equals 20 chicken breasts. And I'll usually freeze a bunch of them because I'm not gonna keep 20 chicken breasts in my fridge. And that's for the price of anywhere from $13 to $14 for 10 chicken breasts. So that's kind of where I get my meat. And then I also got a rotisserie chicken from Sam's Club. It's already made, so you have to have the hassle of making chicken. So I'm going to use that in my chicken spaghetti just to speed things up and make the process easier and simpler for you. So first, just start with cutting your spaghetti squash in half, which is the hardest part of the whole recipe because they're really hard to cut. And you have to be really careful because you can cut your finger off. So the spaghetti squash is kind of like a pumpkin. It has all the seeds and the yucky guts in the middle, so you'll just get a spoon or a fork and get that all out of there as best you can. So when you're done getting all of the guts out of the middle, it'll just look like this with two big openings. And I like to put a little bit of butter in the spaghetti squash. And we're also going to add a little bit of salt and pepper. Salt and pepper. Oops. You're going to put the spaghetti squash in the oven for about 30-35 minutes at 400 degrees, just until you touch a fork to the spaghetti squash and it'll come apart like noodles, so that's whenever it's ready. Okay, next, while that is in the oven for 30-35 minutes, so that you can multitask, you can debone your chicken. So you just get rid of all of the bones and everything and just get the chicken into a bowl because that's what will go into your chicken spaghetti. So this track season I have done something a little different than I have in the past. I've always been pretty conscious of what I put into my body, but this year I made a few changes, but I did that over the summer so that whenever season got here, it wasn't like any drastic changes to my diet. I've just kind of eliminated bad carbs like bread, some dairy. I still eat dairy, but really I just eliminated like pasta and bad carbs. I still eat carbs, obviously. I wouldn't be able to compete the way that I do or have energy. There's carbs in a lot of things that people don't know about. But focusing on nutrition has really, I've noticed big changes in my body. I'm a lot leaner this season. People have noticed, people come up to me and say, hey, have you've like lost a couple pounds? And I'm like, yeah, I have. Just from simple changes in my diet. And it really does make you feel better. I feel a lot better during practice. I have more energy during practice. At meets, I have more energy. So it's been a really great change and something that I hopefully can help other people with the things that I eat, like this chicken spaghetti, but with spaghetti squash noodles instead of regular noodles. Because after you eat a meal like this, you don't feel super heavy, which that's my goal. I don't like to feel heavy after meals. I like to feel that I've fueled my body properly, and that I can make it throughout the day on that meal. For me, I am eating all throughout the day. I don't eat just breakfast, lunch, and dinner. My portion sizes are smaller, so that means that I am eating all throughout the day. So I'm snacking a lot, but on good snacks like almonds or an apple or an orange, like a cutie orange. Especially before practice, I try to eat like some fruit, because fruit does have carbs and sugar, and that's vital to get through a practice. Okay, so for convenience and for a quicker cook time, I simply covered up the spaghetti squash with plastic wrap, and I put a little bit of water at the bottom of the casserole dish so it lets the steam cook the spaghetti squash in the microwave. And I put it in the microwave for about 8 to 10 minutes, and it'll already be able to use a fork. You'll be able to use a fork to already make the noodles. But after this step, you still need to put it in the oven for about 10 to 15 minutes just to kind of crisp up the edges a little bit. Another thing, when you're pulling it out of the microwave, because that water is in the bottom, be extremely careful, because it's gonna be like boiling hot water, so just be really careful. And then also, whenever you take off the plastic wrap, the steam is really hot. I've actually burned my finger before on the steam. So just make sure you take off the plastic wrap away from you with like one hand, just so it doesn't burn you. So this is what the spaghetti squash is gonna look like after it's been in the microwave for 8 to 10 minutes, and you'll already be able to use a fork to get those noodles. But like I said, you're gonna add it to the oven for about 10 to 15 minutes and take out the water, dump out the water. Now, while the spaghetti squash is in the oven, you can start mincing and chopping your onion and garlic. And you're gonna saute this in a little bit of olive oil just until it gets soft. So I've added the cream of mushroom, and I've added the chicken and a little bit of cream, and now you're gonna add your Rotel. I use hot because I like it to have a little bit of spice, but you can use medium if you would like medium or mild. And just mix that around. You're gonna add the cheese in last. Add a little bit of garlic salt just to give it another layer of flavor. Don't forget to also add pepper. Next, you're gonna add a 1.5 cups of fresh shredded cheddar cheese. It's the best part. And you're just gonna continually stir that around on low heat until it starts to melt. And whenever it's melted, take it off of the heat. And this part of the spaghetti squash chicken spaghetti is done. Remember that your spaghetti squash is going to be extremely hot, so either use a rag or a glove to hold the spaghetti squash in place while you're making the noodles, or just wait for it to cool off. But if you don't want to wait, just use a rag or a glove. Final step, just pour what you made on the skillet on top of the spaghetti squash. And you are going to mix it all together once everything is in the casserole dish. Mix before you put it back into the oven for about 10 to 15 minutes. Really, everything is ready and is ready to be eaten, but I like it to be a little bit crispy on the edges. Spaghetti is done, so I'm about to taste test it. It's hot straight out of the oven, so let's see how it tastes. So good, guys. I highly suggest that you make this recipe. And that reminds me that I thank you guys so much for tuning into my videos, watching my videos and liking them, sharing them, commenting on them. Just to continue to do that, and I'll continue to post more and more, or comment what you would like to see, ask questions, whatever. I am happy to answer your questions about whatever it is, life, health, track and field. But seriously, I really appreciate all of the love and support I've gotten this track season. Track is a hard sport. It's a grind. It's all on your own. It's a team sport, but it's individual. So just continue to show love, and I'll continue to show love back to you guys and give you information that I have. But again, just ask questions, because I would love to answer any questions that you guys have. Thank you so much for watching, and just continue to do that. Thank you.